All right, so let's go ahead and wrap up the G6R. They did a great job on this gun, and I definitely, it's interesting now as paintballs are getting smaller and smaller. It's definitely interesting that Bob Long went and put, I believe that's a 685 barrel on here, kind of leading the pack in terms of, acknowledging that paintballs are indeed getting smaller. And that's why, I got the efficiency numbers that it did. The guns feel great in the hands. I mean, they've got a, if you've ever shot a Lux, that extended reach, that you get with the Lux, which is great for running and gunning, it's got that feel when you're holding it in your hands. I mean, there's plenty of room to wrap your hand underneath the regulator here. Something else I really like about it is there's no other screws or protrudements here from the front of the gun, so when you're grabbing it and you're out there playing, there's nothing scratching against your knuckle or anything like that. I mean, it's very, very sleek and smooth. Bulges out a little bit here, with the eye covers, but most guns do bulge a little bit here at the eye covers. That's probably the widest part of the gun right there, is indeed the eye covers. But in your hands, it feels very thin. It just, I don't know how to explain it. It's just, it's kind of like they took an Alias, or maybe even took like a Texas Storm Intimidator, shaved like 1.5 pounds off of it, and shrunk it down, in terms of, how narrow it is. I mean, the gun feels very, very narrow in the hand. There's nothing sticking out the sides. There's no hoses out the side, which I really like. Not having the macro line definitely makes it really easy to switch hands. The regulator here has got plenty of length here. A lot of people with the Victory, they said, oh, the regulator's not quite long enough, even though it's long enough for Bob Long's hands, and he's got like Andre Giant, sized hands, and I didn't have no problem with him. But I love the reach of this thing. These longer type guns like this that are stretched out like that are great for running and gunning. When you're running out to the corner or you're running down the field and doing a run through, just that control of that extra length really works for it. It shoots great. It shoots a lot like a stretched out vise. The vices were very tight, very small markers. This, it basically feels like the same weight as the vise. It's actually lighter by about 4 ounces, but it feels like almost like the same weight of the vise, just stretched out a little bit. It's kind of hard to describe, but for me, being a 6'4" player, it feels amazing. Very fun to gun battle with, but definitely for somebody, if you're sitting at someone who does a lot of laning, a lot of controlling, mid to back players should be all over this gun. Trigger feels great. Bob Long, one thing I've always loved about him is even going all the way back, what are we at, 8-9 years ago, his triggers have always been some of the best triggers on the market, and on the G6R is no different. Feels exactly like the Vice trigger, which was an amazing trigger. Very snappy, very quick, very easy to get on it. Probably my only gripe about it would be the clamping feed neck, not having that additional ridge of security on it, so that if you're out there and the bottom screw loosens up a little bit, your feed neck doesn't just fall right off of the gun. But very easy to take apart, very easy to put back together. On-off ASA is very easy to turn. Adjustments are very nice. I definitely recommend buying, if I haven't said that already, I definitely recommend buying the pressure tester. It's going to make such a difference in the performance of your gun. I mean, if you're below 70 PSI, your guns, you're going to have a very hard time getting your gun up to 300 feet per second. If you're over 80 PSI, your gun's going to be a jackhammer. So finding that sweet spot of where to set your pressures is so important, and by having the gauges, I mean, you can really dial your gun down to shoot absolutely perfectly. So this is a pleasurable gun to shoot, I'm not gonna lie. I mean, it's priced right. 850 bucks, it's a steal. They are coming out with some new upgrades for it, such as the pillow bolt. They're also, the laser eyes, I believe, should be out by the end of February. You can also pick up the low pressure poppet. And let's describe what exactly is a low pressure poppet. Okay, let's say that the standard poppet is this long. Okay, it'd be the biggest poppet in the world, but okay, let's pretend that the standard poppet is this long. The low pressure poppet, it's just a little bit longer. So what it does is it cracks open just a smidge earlier, just to kind of not only put a little more air through the bolt, but also kind of crack it just a little bit earlier to give the ball a little bit more of a push. It uses more air, it's a little bit quieter, a little bit softer on paint, but that's the sacrifice. You use a little more air, a little bit softer, and it's also, it kind of changes the sound signature of the gun. I had the low pressure poppet in my Vice, noticed a little bit of a difference. I didn't really notice any drop in efficiency, but I did notice a little bit of a difference in the low pressure, with the low pressure poppet. It's just a little bit longer, and instead of it being like a pop, it's more of like a swoosh. So that's pretty much the biggest difference, but bone stock, the guns shoot perfectly fine. You don't need to get a pillow bolt for these guns. You don't need to get the 4CIs with laser, and you don't need to get the pop-it. The way they are out of the box, they shoot just fine. They did a great job with this gun for $850. You know, if you're looking for, you know, probably one of the top of the line pop-its in the sub $1,000 price range, I'd be all over this, man. It's priced great for what you get out of the box. You know, it's a great shooter. It's definitely fun to shoot with. So hope that helps. Thanks for tuning in.